In the previous section, we defined fixed-point data type terminology. By the end of this module, you will be able to configure fixed-point data types and describe the effect of arithmetic on the fixed-point data type. Okay, so in this slide, we see a picture of the context help. So if you were to take your mouse and turn on the context help and hover over any fixed-point data, so for example, if you're hovering over a fixed-point control or indicator or a wire that contains fixed-point data, you'll see the context help populate with information about that fixed point configuration. So for example, you'll see the sign encoding there, you'll see the word length, you'll see the integer word length as well. And remember, based on those three, that's how the minimum, maximum, and delta for that fixed point data is calculated. There's another thing over here called overflow status. We'll talk about that a little bit later in this lesson. So in this slide, we see a couple of examples of fixed point representation and how that affects the delta, minimum value, and maximum value. So if we take a look at that first one, we see a U8. So if you're trying to represent a U8 data type, you would have a delta of 1, a minimum value of 0, and a maximum value of 255. So that would correspond to a fixed point configuration that is going to be unsigned. It's going to have a word length of 8 and also a integer word length of 8. And as we look at these different examples down here, you'll see how the different representations will affect those delta, minimum, and maximum values. So in the previous module, we were able to talk about and show a demonstration of fixed point and how changing those numbers was affecting our delta, minimum, and maximum values. So here we just have a table that kind of shows it again and shows you a couple of different configurations. So in this slide, we show how you would actually configure that fixed point data inside LabVIEW. So in LabVIEW, first you would have to have a numeric control that is of a fixed point data type. So to do that, first you would put down a control and then you can right click it and change the representation to fixed point. And then after that, you can right click that control and go to properties. This will launch a window, and if you go to the data type tab, notice that you can change the representation there too to fixed point if you haven't already. And then in the configuration, the things that you would change would be the encoding. So first of all, you have to figure out, okay, is my fixed point data going to be signed or unsigned? So choose one of those. And then after that, you can take a look at the word length and the integer word length. So you can adjust these, and as you're adjusting both of the integer word length and the word length and the encoding, you can look on the right side and you can see the range change as you're doing that. So you can keep adjusting those values until you get the right minimum, maximum, and desired delta for your fixed point data. So on this slide, we have a question about fixed point arithmetic. So if we take a look at this block diagram real quick, what is the fixed point configuration of the output? So let's think about this for a second. So if we have two fixed point inputs going inside the addition, we see that they're unsigned and we have a word length of 10 and an integer word length of 6. Okay, so if we were to keep that same configuration for the output, would that be able to accommodate the maximum value? For example, if you took a look at the inputs and you just had the maximum value that's allowed by that configuration, what would the output configuration need to be to accommodate that? Would it need to grow? So we'll talk about this in the next couple of slides. So let's talk a little bit more about fixed point arithmetic. The range of the output values of some fixed point arithmetic function will be large enough to accommodate the largest possible input values up to 64 bits. So what this is saying is when you take an arithmetic function, it's going to take a look at those inputs and then it's going to automatically output a fixed point data type that can accommodate the largest possible values that those inputs would have created in that arithmetic function. Okay? So the point of this is it needs to be large enough so you don't lose any data from that operation, because sometimes you're going to need to grow that fixed point configuration to accommodate a higher maximum, for example, or a more precise delta. And then the 64-bit, that limitation is just a limitation of the fixed point data type itself. So the fixed point data type, the highest precision that it can represent is 64 bits. So the maximum word length is going to be 64 bits. So let's look at the second bullet. So LabVIEW is going to propagate the range of those values along each wire. The representation is then calculated to be as small as possible without losing data. as you're using these fixed point arithmetic functions, it's going to propagate these ranges throughout the wire. As you're going through different arithmetic functions, each function is going to keep adjusting the output to make sure that you're not losing any data. Okay, so in some cases, it's going to have to grow that fixed point configuration to be larger so it can accommodate the largest possible values that could come out of it. But at the same time, LabVIEW is going to keep that growth to a minimum. So it's going to be large enough not to lose any data by default. And it's going to use the smallest configuration that is able to accomplish that. So let's take a look at a couple of examples. So in the next couple slides, we'll talk about how that works with addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And you'll see more specific examples with that. So let's take the example of addition. So remember, the range of the output should be large enough to accommodate the largest possible input values. So in the addition example, let's take a look at the configuration of the two fixed point controls. So if you were to set those controls to their maximum values and add them together, the output wire's configuration would have to be larger to accommodate that maximum possible sum and also not to lose any accuracy or data. So for addition, the integer word length must be 1 bit longer, resulting in the word length also increasing by 1 as well. The arithmetic functions automatically adjust the fixed point configuration of their outputs to accommodate their inputs without losing any accuracy. So as you can see, on the left we have that original unsigned 10 and 6, and then on the right side, notice that the fixed point configuration had to grow. So it's still unsigned, but it's going to grow to 11 and 7. Okay. So if we take a look at the subtraction example, it's going to be similar. We're going to have to increase the word length and the integer word length as well. But if we take a look at the sign encoding, we see that that's changed as well. So in subtraction, whether or not the inputs are signed or unsigned, the output must be signed, because subtraction you could possibly get a negative number. So here we see arithmetic examples of multiplication and division. So one thing I just wanted to point out here is that multiplication and division are going to grow even more. So in the previous slide we saw with addition and subtraction, it was growing the word length by 1. But over here, notice that the formula up there is showing you that the output is going to grow by a plus c. So if we take a look at that block diagram now for multiplication, notice that we have unsigned 10 and 6 for both of the inputs, and notice that the output actually grew a whole lot. So notice that it grew all the way to 20 and 12. So the output configuration is now using 20 bits of precision. Okay, so if you think about this, if you keep multiplying things, so if you have a string of multiplication functions, your data is going to grow large very quickly. Okay, so just keep that in mind. And then we see the same thing with division. And the only thing I want to point out with the division is that there's a different formula for signed and unsigned. So you can see that up there, and again you see that the output configuration grew by a lot. So notice that it goes from 10 bits of precision to 21 or 20. So just be careful when you're using these functions. They might quickly grow to the maximum 64 bits that you can represent with fixed point. Okay, so now let's dive into LabVIEW and take a look at a demonstration of fixed point math. Okay, so for this demo, I'm just opening up the solution file for exercise 3.1, and so we could take a look at this math VI. So let's go ahead and take a look at the block diagram real quick. So here, all we're doing is we have some I16s, and these are just normal integers, right? And we're adding, subtracting, and multiplying. Okay. So let's see what happens if we take the maximum value here. So I'm just gonna put a really high number, and notice that the maximum that an I16 can represent is 32767. So I can go lower, but I can't go any higher. Okay. So what happens if we take the maximum and add it by something like 10? Okay. So we know the correct answer, if you add it, should be 32777. So if we were to run this, notice that the addition, we do not get the right answer. So if we're using an I16 integer, it actually starts rolling over, right? So we get the incorrect answer here. And then subtraction, it just happens to be correct. And then the multiplication is definitely not correct either. The I16 wasn't able to grow to accommodate that new maximum. So let's contrast this with fixed point. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take these indicators and I'm going to go to their properties. Right now these indicators are I16s, but I'm going to make them adapt to the source. So what that does is whatever the data type of the wire coming in, the indicator is going to adapt to that. So I'm going to click OK. Because the incoming wire here is I16, these are not going to change. However, I'm going to change these controls and change their data type. And I'm going to change these from I16 to fixed point. So notice with the fixed point representation that it changed it to is going to try to do the equivalent of what we had before, which was I16. So notice that it's signed, just like an I16. And then the word length and integer word length are both 16. So if you take a look at the range here in the delta, this basically represents the same thing that's equivalent to an I16. Okay, except now it's a fixed point data type. So now I'm going to click OK. And let's try running it and let's just see what happens. Okay, so I'm going to run this again with the same values. And let's see if we get the correct answers this time. So notice, when we added these together, now we do get the correct answer, right? And the data type was able to grow to accommodate a new maximum. The subtractant is correct. And also the multiplication, which, you know, when you multiply these two, it gets much bigger than our original data type, right? But it was still able to get the right answer here. Okay, so now let's look at the block diagram again. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the context help. And let's take a look at the data type here. So if we look at the controls, notice that it is our sine 16 and 16 and sine 16 and 16. Okay, just like we saw in our configuration box earlier. Now let's go ahead and go over to the wire coming out of add. Notice that the output of the add was able to make the data type grow. So notice that it is now 1717, right, to accommodate a new maximum for addition. And then for subtraction, it was able to grow from 1616 to 1717. Okay? And for the multiply, notice that with the multiply, if we have the two maximum values coming in there, the multiply data type is going to have to grow a lot to be able to accommodate a new maximum, right? That new maximum is going to be very large. So it goes from 16 to 16, and if we look at the context help, it goes to 3232. Okay? So here we can see that the advantage of some of these fixed point functions is that they're going to grow to accommodate the new maximums and new precision that you need based on your calculation. Okay, so one thing I want to demo again, or not again, but one more thing I need to demo just to make things a little bit more clear again is, let's say I have a control and let's say I need to figure out what the fixed point configuration needs to be. So I'm going to go into the properties and show you how you can do that. So first of all, I want to make this into a fixed point data type, so I'm just going to choose fixed point. And let's say this fixed point number, I need it to represent a plus or minus 5 voltage. Okay, so my maximum is 5 and my minimum is -5. So based on that, I know that it needs to be signed, right? Because I need to have positive and negative values. And let's see, so our minimum and maximum, that's pretty big, right? I just need to get something between 5 and -5. So let me go to my integer word length and decrease that until we get something a little bit more appropriate. So it looks like we're getting close. Okay, so -4 to about 4, that's not going to be big enough, right? Because I need to go all the way to 5 and -5. So let me increase this by 1. So now we've got our minimum and maximum that can accommodate a plus or minus 5 voltage. And here I can adjust the word length and get the appropriate delta, right? So the delta is going to determine how precise or how the resolution of this data type. So let's say I know that it needs to get a delta all the way up to something like that. Okay, so this is just a quick demo of showing you how you can configure your fixed point data type using the encoding, word length, and integer length based on your requirements of what your minimum, maximum, and delta need to be. Now you can configure fixed point data types and describe the effect of arithmetic on the fixed point data type. Next, we will configure the data type, rounding mode, and overflow mode of fixed point functions.